And in the last 10 years and so that you've been doing all these interviews, again, you've seen the guest list grow and grow and grow. And you've had, a couple years ago, it would be an interview every once in a while on your channel. Now it seems like it's become a weekly thing. And now it's to the point where you have your weekly podcast and you're putting up the podcast of the audio version of the interviews that you do. How have you seen, I don't know if source is the right word, but, being able to get all your interviews? Obviously, now it's a matter of who you know, and with social media, it seems like it's become easier than ever just to shoot someone a DM and say, hey, can I interview you, and stuff like that. So how have you seen that process evolve in terms of getting your interviews, compared to 10 years ago when you first started?
Oh, yeah, well, when I first started, though, my interviews were basically only the ones that came to me. So Raw or SmackDown was coming to town, or Ring of Honor or Impact. That was really the extent of the interviews that I was doing, when my YouTube channel first started like 8 years ago. And I was just kind of, as wrestling interviews came, I would do them. Or like if one of the local wrestling promotions had a big star, I would go out of my way to do that. But at that time, it wasn't, I was doing like 5 or 10 a year, tops. And then I made this, and I say it all the time, vague goals get vague results. And last year I was doing way more. I was going out of my way, and I can drive to Orlando. It's about a 3-hour drive. A lot of wrestlers live in Orlando. And it was just me setting those specific goals. So last year I wanted to do about 40 interviews, and I think I ended up with like 41. This year I set the very specific goal that I wanted to do 50 wrestling interviews before the end of the year. And I was going out of my way to make them happen. I bought a flight and a ticket to Double or Nothing with zero plans. I was just like, you know what? When we get to Vegas, we'll make something happen. And with having that specific goal, it's given me something to drive after. So I reach out to a lot of wrestlers, either on Instagram or Twitter, or I'll email them. And I don't get a lot of responses. Like, there's a lot of people that don't write back, or they'll write back and be like, oh, sorry, we can't make it work. And I just figure the more swings you take, the more chances you have to hit that home run. So I've just been putting, more and more effort into it, and, just kind of hoping for the best every single time.
And how important to you is to get the interviews in person, too? Because, again, we're talking over the phone right now, but it seems like with your interviews that you do for your YouTube channel through camera, it seems like they pack much more of a punch when you're able to sit right next down to the person, ask them the questions you want to ask, all that type of stuff. I mean, it's very easy now just to call someone over the phone, do an interview that way, but how important to you is to fly all the way out there, show this person, like, hey, I'm willing to do this, by getting that plane ticket, going all the way out to where they are to do your interview?
Yeah, I'd say that's what really makes my YouTube channel, my podcast, stand out. And, there's nothing against doing phone interviews like we're doing right now. This is great. They're super accessible. We live in a world now where you can Skype or FaceTime or call someone who lives literally on the other side of the planet. And I think that's incredibly great for accessibility. But I wanted to do something, that made my interviews stand out and made them a little bit different. So, I'd always been doing them in person. That's just the nature of television, which is, the medium that I grew up in and have, had a great career in. So I just wanted to continue that. And now we live in a world also where flights aren't that expensive. So, if I can buy a $300 flight to Vegas for Double or Nothing and get some content there, I'm going to. And I just think there's just something about that in-person interaction that is just lost when you do like FaceTime or something. I just think there's something about shaking that person's hand and actually looking them in the eye that makes the interviews even 1% better. And if I can do something that's just 1% better, I'm going to do it.